My 36F husband, 42 male, is currently in Las Vegas for a national bowling tournament. He is there with his mom and her friends/folks from their bowling league. He is an avid bowler, bowls in a Tuesday night league, often in state tournaments and sometimes in national tournaments. Typically I go with and sometimes bowl myself. This year, we decided I would not go, but stay home with our 3 boys, ages 4, 8, 10, due to heat and smoke in Vegas in July. My husband and I have been married for 11 years. This is his second marriage. His first marriage failed because he walked in on his wife cheating on him with another man. I have never, not once, thought that he would ever be intimate with another woman while he was with me. He's just not that type. So, onto this trip. Typically when he goes on a trip without me, at least one a year given my job and time off requirements, he stays in a hotel room with his mom or our boys. 3 nights ago, I was on FaceTime with him while he was in his hotel room. It was really nice and he was talking about possibly taking a nap for lack of sleep. I asked if he had his room to himself, because that would have been awesome, and he said oh no? Is sharing with me. I asked him who that was, and he said something, I don't remember, aside from she. I said wait what? And then he went on to explain that he was supposed to share the room with his mom's boyfriend, but plans changed and now he is sharing the room with another woman on the trip. He told me that I played cornhole with her last month at a get-together. I reminded him who I had played cornhole with, him and a girl, but not one with the name he was giving me. I have no idea who this woman is, at which point he got very confused. He did not understand why I was upset or frustrated, so I dropped it because I did not want to deter from his time and his bowling. I know I should have asked how he would have felt if the roles were reversed, but I didn't. Partly because I didn't want to fight, we hardly ever fight, while the kids were up, and partly because I didn't want to hear him chalk it up to my imagination. I have hardly slept since that night, and my dreams have been chock full of worst case scenarios, and still I have not really brought it up again. There have been a few occasions in which he has talked about taking naps and how lame he is in Vegas. I have mentioned a few times, sort of sarcastically as a side, that he would be having more fun if he were sharing a room with me, or if I was there instead of his present company, but he has brushed it all aside. So here we are, he has spent the last 3 nights in a hotel room with a woman that is not me or his mother, Amita, for being upset? Update 1. Okay, so I took some advice and grew a backbone. I texted him a little while ago instead of waiting until he got home. He and our boys are leaving for another trip tomorrow morning. I could not get the time off of work, so I wanted to make sure we had the conversation fully before he left again. Before I give the update, I wanted to make a couple of things clear. I do trust my husband. He has never shown he would be the kind of person to cheat, and that is not what truly concerned me. Even though I did have some pretty unpleasant dreams. My issue was that he was not upfront and honest with me. If I had done the same thing, he would have lost his mind, understandably. This is why I started the original post with he's just not that type. We do generally have great communication. The issue here is that I like to have this kind of conversation face to face rather than over the phone. It's just not something I like to hash out while we are not in the same space. Obviously, in this situation, I should have made the exception, and have now done so. Now, for the update, I texted him today to tell him that this situation has been bothering me for the last 3 days. I had questions and we needed to have this conversation. I asked who the woman was, how old she was and why didn't he tell me about the situation before I found out by accident. There was a mix-up with the rooms, something about someone not going so people were shuffled. He was paired with a woman about my age. He said he didn't think it would be a big deal and didn't want to inconvenience everyone else on the trip. He also said he did not want to upset me, which is why he didn't write out tell me about it. He did tell me that I never had anything to worry about and he made sure they weren't in the room alone together aside from when they were sleeping. I know, but I really do believe him on this. I was honest with him and told him that if roles were reversed, out of respect for him, I would have called him right away to make sure he was okay with it. I told him that while I trust him implicitly, I should not have found out the way that I did. And he should not have blown off my concern. I told him that the lack of upfront communication felt suspicious, regardless of intention or what actually happened. As for not upsetting me, I told him I would have understood and not been upset if he had just been honest. He has apologized profusely. I told him next time to just communicate. He is adamant there will not be a next time. So, call me naive if you want, but I am dropping it at this point. He will be home this evening and I intend on having a nice evening with him before I don't see him again for another 2 weeks. Thank you for the advice. I cried it out when I found out her age, but getting this off my chest has been very relieving. Husband is coming home tonight and we will talk. I'm hoping it's 82-year-old grandma smile update too. I am not handling this as well as I thought I was. I had decided to let it go. I know he wasn't doing anything with this other woman. You can disagree and call me crazy if you'd like, but I do know that. However, as much as I have tried, I can't get past the fact that he made the decision to do something he knew I wouldn't be okay with, and not tell me about it. It all feels just so messed up. I have talked to a few of my coworkers. I don't have really any friends that aren't friends of his that I talk to on a regular basis, and there is no way I will talk to my family because that is a shit storm I can't handle right now, and they are all shocked and more angry for me than I have let myself be. Most of them know him, the kind of person he is and what ended his first marriage. He used to work at the same company. We had less than 24 hours together before his mom and all three of my children took their trip to the other side of the United States. I have been sitting in my feels and will continue to do so until they get back, almost another week from now. I was on the phone with them this evening before they went to bed, and one of the first things my husband said to me was, "I'm sharing a bed with a redhead tonight." And I almost came unglued before I realized he was talking about one of our boys. We have 3 sons. After a very long pause, I said, "You better be talking about," and I was so angry I don't understand how he didn't pick up on that. Every conversation we have had has been short and to the point because I'm really just not interested in talking to him. I have been calling my oldest son, and talking with my boys instead. His mom hasn't really said much to me, which makes me think he has said something to her. Which is fine, of course, I really don't care about that. Bottom line is, I don't know what to do. It is midnight at home. I tried to go to bed 2 hours ago and just could not stop sobbing, so I got up and let it go. It felt good to get it out, but I know I need to talk to someone. I have support lines through work I can call, but won't tonight. Far too many drinks and I do want to bring that into it as well, but I will call tomorrow. I know I should be upset and angry and not let it go. But I am afraid when I do talk to a professional they will say I'm blowing it out of proportion. I will still call, but I need to get my head straight first. He is bicycling for 7 days, over 400 miles, so as much as I want to tear him a new one right now, especially after his completely insensitive and clueless joke this evening, I have not. Because I want him home safe and sound. Regardless of my feelings in this moment, the most important thing is that my children's dad comes home safe so we can hash this out at least in the same city and not while he is 1,000 miles away. With his mom. And my children. Oop, it sure does feel that way right now. Update 3. My family came home a day early, so I took 2 extra days off of work to see them and figure things out with my husband. After we had unloaded and put everything away, we had dinner and watched a show. After putting the boys to bed, my husband and I went to our room. It was pretty clear he thought he was going to get lucky, because he was very confused when I turned the light on. I told him that I had questions and I needed him to answer them. He was hesitant but agreed. I asked him who this woman is, how old and is she married. I still don't know who she is, but he did confirm she is younger than me, and not married. I then asked who made the decision he would be sharing a room with her. He said that his mom said it would be really great if they shared so she could spend the 3 nights with her boyfriend/not boyfriend. I asked him why he didn't tell me about it. He said he was just so tired and had had such a long day he didn't think about it. Conflicting with his earlier, "I didn't want to upset you." He said that he didn't think I would ever question his intentions, so why would he think he would have to tell me? I told him it wasn't about questioning his intentions or fidelity. Why? It's that what they did was completely inappropriate and disrespectful to me and our marriage. And at the absolute very least, he should have sent me a quick text explaining the situation. I also told him that his mom is not always right. He apologized profusely, said he shouldn't have put his mom before me. He didn't think it would be a thing because he would never try to hurt me and he thought I knew that. All the things. And we honestly talked it out and worked through things for a solid few hours. We came to a really good place and connected for the first time in a long while. Then he went to work the next day, which hurt because I didn't really have the time to be calling in. I am severely behind at work, but I did anyway because I wanted to do the right thing for us and to take care of us. But because he just spent 2 weeks going all over the country doing something super fun and now he is super behind in his job, he couldn't afford to take any more time off. So that really hurt, but I let it go because he really was behind and I at least had the boys that I got to catch up with. That day my mom called to see what we were doing for my birthday, which was 2 days away. I had honestly forgotten about it with everything, so I told her I didn't know and asked if my husband had called her. She said he had not. So I told her I would let her know when we came up with a plan. That night, I asked him if he had a plan, and he said, "Oh, I don't know, what do you want to do?" And that really hurt, but I let it go because we have had so much going on. I told him it would be great if we had a barbecue and he invited people and got the groceries and he agreed. I specifically asked if he would call my mom. He did get some of the groceries, but not all of them. And he did surprise me with a cake. But that was it. I ended up inviting everyone last minute, having to apologize along the way, and had to go to the store twice to get the rest of the things we needed. At the party, he started showing our friends the pictures from his trip, pictures I haven't even seen yet. I was so mad, upset, frustrated. He didn't catch on. So then it came time for gifts. His was a card game and a back rub. I felt like I was just slapped in the face. To be clear, I don't place a high value on gifts. If you get me something great, if you don't, that's fine. But he didn't get me anything for Mother's Day, but I got him a whole slew of things for Father's Day for his trip and an Xbox game he wanted. I also planned each of those days by myself. And he just went to the other side of the country, and all he thought to grab for me was a card game? I didn't want to fight in front of our friends, so I let it be. I didn't really expect more than that anyway, but it still hurt. Then I went back to work and things were meh. Anything he did irritated me. Anything his mom did irritated me. I was getting so frustrated and sad and angry and just not myself. Then I had a medical issue, something that pokes its little head back up every 5 years like clockwork, but I had been ignoring because of everything going on, come back and I went to our urgent care to take care of it. But I had to take care of all sorts of things first so that me going to the doctor didn't hamper my husband's day, so I was really irritated in the morning. It didn't help that his mom came over and I just can't handle her right now. It also didn't help that he told me that morning about all the plans he had come up with for our son's birthday in a few weeks. I was mad at myself for being upset. I should be stoked my husband is thinking about our son and wanting to give him a great birthday party, but I was so deflated and sad and angry in that moment. But he had to go to work, so I left it alone. So before I went, I sent him a text apologizing for being irritated. I told him that I'm not in a good place mentally or physically and I'm really struggling. He asked how he could help, and I respond, dead that I really didn't know. And then I saw the doctor and he referred me to surgery. This will be the third time I have had surgery for this. I was so frustrated and sad and hurt, I decided to just put it all out there. And since he can't seem to find the time to actually talk to me, I texted him a novel, laying out everything that is on my mind. The trip, my birthday, him not taking time, my son's birthday, all of it. After an hour he had not responded, so I sent him another text saying that maybe he could just tell me I'm not crazy and we will get through this together, or something like that at least. He responded to that saying that he loves me and has lots to say but can't say it over the phone. So then I went to work and did the things. I felt a little better. He didn't discredit all of my frustration, so things were okay. That night he called to tell me he loved me and was going to take the next day off to spend with me. It was also my day off. I was pretty darn stoked. The next day I asked him what were the things he wanted to say. And he said he didn't want to say it in front of the kids. So then that night I asked him again, and he said that we have been having such a great day, he didn't want to ruin it and me get all emotional, so he wasn't going to say it then. I felt like I had just been punched in the gut. So wait, you have been so nice since I texted you, but now I'm going to be sad and upset? What is going on? It is now the next day, and I just asked him again. He completely blew me off and went to town to pick up our son from camp. I am at a loss. I don't know what to do. I can only ask him to talk to me so many times. He doesn't share his thoughts or emotions often, but I would think he would do it now, right? I don't know what to do. Now on to second story. Husband prioritizes daughter over pregnant wife, leaving her feeling unseen and resentful about how is it possible. I, 28F, have been with Michael, 41 male, for the last 8 years. We got aged 1.5 years ago and decided to get married once my master's degree was done. Michael has a daughter, F, 12, who lives across the country. I found out I was pregnant 4.5 months ago. When I told Michael, he looked shocked. I suggested we postpone the wedding, but he said no. In fact, let's have the wedding earlier. We can have a small courthouse wedding, and once the baby is born, we will have a nice party. I reluctantly agreed. We set a date, I got a nice dress, and my friend did my hair and makeup. I showed up and saw that Michael didn't bother wearing a clean shirt. He wore his old jeans, didn't shave or shower, and wore his old t-shirt. I asked him if he really wanted to marry me. He said yes, let's go, hurry up. After the ceremony, we went for lunch, and he told me his daughter is moving in with us, so it's best to cancel our honeymoon/baby moon that was supposed to be in September. I was shocked and asked why. He said he can't just abandon his kid for a week. Ella is moving across the country, everything is new to her, we need to bond with her. Get over yourself. You are going to be a mom, how about a little empathy? I just stayed quiet. He went back to work, and I went back to my place to pack my stuff alone because I was officially moving in with him. Now that Ella has moved in, I feel completely unseen. He spends all his free time doing stuff with her, and I'm not invited. He says his kid has been through a lot and he needs to bond with her. I pretty much spend all my time alone, either at school or at my part-time job. I go to all my baby appointments alone. Today, he told me he is taking her to Disneyland because September is her birthday. I feel so petty, but September was supposed to be our honeymoon. I asked, and I guess I'm not invited to the trip, right? He said you are always invited, but this time I want it to be me and her only. It's the first time I get to be with her on her birthday. I just left for school and cried. Why is he punishing me for getting pregnant? Things were great before, and all of a sudden, I don't even exist anymore. Ada for resenting my husband? Am I too needy and unreasonable? Oop, no, I had no clue. He just informed me during the lunch, babe. That is not how a loving husband would approach such a topic. And his comments on top of that? Jesus seems like he thinks that now that you're married and pregnant, there is no way you'll leave and he can treat you however. That is not right. You deserve better. There are a million red flags in this post. Make sure your support system is tight. Talk to people about possibly staying with them. Put money to the side. And then, only when you have a plan, sit him down and tell him that if things don't change, you're gone. Oop, yes. Apparently he had been discussing with Ella's mom for weeks about this. Nope. I wasn't even aware my wife took it upon herself to write her side yesterday. She left to stay with her coworker to clear her mind before making any decisions. Since then, many of my friends have read her post, contacted me, and called me a monster. Here is my side, and I'm genuinely wondering if I'm the bad guy here. I have been with my wife for the last 8 years. She got pregnant while we were engaged. I suggested having a small courthouse wedding and then a nice party when the baby was born. I have a daughter from a previous relationship. When her mother was pregnant, she left to stay with her parents across the country. I only met her maybe once a year. I was never involved in her life. Before our courthouse wedding, her mother messaged me that my daughter was moving in with me because she was pregnant and thought Ella, my daughter, should be with me. When I told my wife after our wedding, she didn't say anything. I told her that I was postponing our honeymoon since I couldn't leave my girl, who had just moved in and was feeling abandoned, just to go on some trip. My wife didn't say anything. Since Ella moved in, I have tried my best to make her feel welcome. I take her to extracurricular activities, she sees a therapist that I take her to, and I take her fishing with me. My wife has not only been very distant but also decided not to communicate with either of us. She hasn't put any effort into connecting with my daughter. They speak maybe a few words a day. My wife is always quiet, which makes things awkward. On top of that, she is jealous of my daughter and expects me to baby her because she is pregnant. She suggests crashing, I say no each time, in on any father-daughter activity without realizing my kid has been through so much. She expects me to come to all her baby appointments. I explain that I'm working full-time and do all these extracurricular activities with Ella. Plus, she can just show me the ultrasound pictures later, it's not like there is anything I can do. My presence is not necessary for these appointments. Now, here is the thing, am I an asshole for trying to be there for my child? For putting my child first? For expecting my wife to be an adult and not expect me to baby her? She is using her pregnancy to be emotional and guilt-trip me because she is jealous of a literal child. Uda. Your wife is expecting your child. You have made no effort to make her feel special or wanted. You are putting your daughter's needs, understandable, over your wife's, who is also carrying your child, needs. Taking her to one of your father-daughter outings isn't going to kill you, rather it will help your daughter and wife bond. Frankly, your attitude about your wife wanting you at her medical appointments and everything in between is just concerning. You are making no effort to make your wife comfortable and more importantly at peace. Grow up and act like a husband for once too. Oop, I married her. Right away. Most men walk away. Oop, you are treating me like I'm a monster and capture the princess. Lol, we love each other. Just because I have boundaries and expectations doesn't mean I'm a monster. Oop, I do love her and the baby she is carrying. Our problem is she likes to be treated like a child and competes with my daughter. I expect her to act like an adult. I saw people told her in her post to murder my baby. No, she is not getting an abortion. Reddit is toxic sometimes. Update 1. I haven't slept all night. It's 7 a.m. in Toronto now, and I'm a mess. I thought I'd give you an update. Some of you called me a troll because you couldn't believe what an insensitive jackass I was. Well, you weren't wrong. Here's the update. My wife texted me yesterday, saying she found a new place and is planning to talk to a lawyer soon. She asked when she could come by to pack her stuff. I was floored. I thought she was kidding or trying to scare me. But she wasn't, she was very serious. She came over with her coworker, Jen. I asked her if she could please stay and talk, then I'd give her a ride back to her coworker's place later. Her coworker gave me the dirtiest look and left. We talked for hours. I'm a monster and a crappy husband. She generally has anxiety, and pregnancy made it worse, and she's been dealing with it alone. Apparently, there was a scare during an ultrasound, and she had a full-blown panic attack. She said she was so lonely that the ultrasound tech and nurses had to help her out. Luckily, further testing showed that the baby is fine. I felt sick to my stomach picturing her alone and having a panic attack. I asked her why she didn't tell me. She said she had asked me many times to come, but each time I either called it stupid or made fun of her for being a big baby. She said while she was waiting for the further testing results, she was so anxious that she was throwing up all the time. I lived with her, yet I was so full of myself I didn't even notice. I begged her to come back. She said she can't at this time because of her mental health. I asked if I could come to the appointments from now on. She said, of course. We're going to see a marriage counts, Elor, as soon as possible. She said she'll only move back when the counselor says she's ready because, at this point, she's not. I asked if I could still take her out on date nights. She looked at me and asked if I was just doing this to expect sex afterward and trick her into coming back. I swore that I would drop her off at her place every time, no sleepovers and no expectations. Just dinners, talking, and doing activities like when we were dating. She smiled. She asked about my daughter, and I told her she misses you. She said, no, she doesn't even know me. I admitted she was right. I told her I messed up and that hopefully, when she's ready, she can join us on some outings. She said, yeah, maybe. I drove her back to her coworker. So folks, as Doug Ford says, to summarize, I stayed awake all night. I'm disgusted by my actions. So that's the update as of now. My wife has left me for now, and I'm skating on very thin ice. Hopefully, I'll have more positive updates soon. P.S. I admitted I was a selfish puss. I have been getting DMs suggesting to kill myself, or hope my wife miscarries so she would be free. I'm going to stop replying. You still are TA. You weren't the only one disgusted by what you wrote. The post and the responses that followed only had one thing in common: me and I. My house, my expenses, my daughter, my rules, my this, my that. Never once did you talk about your wife in an equal partner sense of a way. Even though your wife knew about your daughter, you sprung her on her. Never once did you find it right to discuss with her first. Her life was going to be impacted by it too. She made every attempt to be close to your daughter, which was stonewalled by you. You dismissed your pregnant wife's concerns as being jealous and a baby competing with your daughter. The fact that you were so ignorant to your wife's pleas that you totally sent her into a downward spiral. Despite all of this, your wife is still willing to give you a chance. Hat right there tells you what an amazing person she is. I hope for your sake, you have changed, because if you haven't, then God help you. Update 2. Sorry for not posting after dinner. I met my wife for dinner, and she looked beautiful as always. She asked about my day, and I showed her my phone as the Reddit notifications kept coming in. She told me to just delete everything, saying these were some horrific, judgmental messages. She said she had read all my comments and was happy she deleted her account because it was affecting her mental health. She then told me about a weird sex dream she had, and I couldn't stop laughing. She asked me if I thought our baby would be a boy or a girl. I told her I didn't know much about pregnancy. She laughed and said, "True, I'm going to give you some of my books to read." I said, "Thank you, and I will." She went over the list of expectations I made, explained some things, and then changed some stuff. I told her I really appreciated her feedback and that I knew it wasn't her job to help me. She looked at me and said, "Are you kidding me?" When I asked for her opinion, I told her I really liked it. It felt like the old you, I wasn't invisible anymore. She said that once we got married, she felt suffocated. She never felt like this was our home because I treated her like a house guest. She said it was never our home, it was mine, and she was just living there. She wasn't involved in any of the house decisions and never really unpacked because I liked the house the way it was. I told her she was right and that I was wrong for saying it was my house and making decisions for everyone. I apologized for making her feel suffocated. She said she has known me for 8 years and knows I can change back to the person I used to be, the person she fell in love with. I was embarrassed and quiet. She suggested I talk to a therapist about handling change in my life, acknowledging that the first pregnancy, my new position, and Ella had all been significant changes, but that I couldn't just focus on a few priorities and ignore the rest. She told me I completely ignored her and asked if I agreed. I said yes, 100%. I should have discussed Ella's move from the moment her mom texted, and I shouldn't have excluded her. She asked if I was still taking Ella to Disneyland. I said that aside from the obvious reason that I was a dumbass for excluding her, no. She then said she wanted to go back for 2 weeks to see her grandparents and friends back home, so I should pay for that, she asked me. She then looked at me and asked, "So what are we going to do for 2 weeks?" I really didn't have an answer. She said, "Want to take me on the honeymoon you never took me on?" I said, "If that's what you want, of course." She mentioned it would be the last week of September and the first week of October. Then she asked if I wanted her to come to take Ella shopping on Saturday. I told her this would be a giant favor for me because I don't know much about shopping for a preteen girl. I said, "Yes, thank you." After dinner, we were talking about movies, and she went on and on about movie theater popcorn. Then she felt embarrassed and said, "Sorry, I just really crave it." I laughed and said there was a theater close to her place, and we could stop by to buy some. "Let's go." It was so cute because she devoured half the bag by the time we arrived at her place. She kissed me on the cheek and said she had a good night. I said I did too. "Thank you." She asked if I could help her move to her new place, and I said yes, of course. She mentioned her job isn't paying enough, so she's thinking of getting a second job. I told her, "Please let me help you. You're pregnant, and it's very unfair to work 2 jobs. You only moved out because of the shit I put you through. You even said this was for your mental health. I don't want you to come back because you couldn't afford to live on your own. If you need your own space, then it's my job to help you." She said, "Thank you." She also mentioned she booked marriage counseling for Tuesday and started seeing a therapist, virtual sessions, who she really likes and who makes her happy. I told her thanks for the appointment, and I'll pick her up. I'm glad she found a good therapist. I asked for a referral from my GP and hope I'll find a good one too. Anyway, eventually, we were done sitting in the car talking. She kissed me on the cheek again, and then left.